This is Daniel Diaz. For those of you that don't know me, I work on business development with Dash. And tonight I have a very special guest, Ira Miller from the Git Guild. Ira, you there?
I'm here. It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, excellent. So I really enjoyed the format of video interviews we've been using lately to update the community in the projects that we're doing. And I felt it was a lot easier to communicate a lot of the things that we're working on by trying to have a conversation alongside our normal written reports. So this is my first attempt at doing a video update.
Chat.
Right. So I wanted to talk about what we're calling our Fiat Gateways project, right? And where we are partnering with the Git Guild in building this framework of tools for businesses to be able to more easily integrate Dash into their services. So Ira, maybe you could start by giving us an overview of what is this framework the Git Guild is working on, and what are the components and why this is important.
Sure, absolutely. First, though, there's two ways you could look at the word framework. We have an actual framework for developing applications, a trustless app framework or TAP framework. And this is mostly for APIs or ways for technical services to talk to each other. Like when you want to communicate with an exchange or a broker or something like that, you talk to their API. So this is just a really easy to use, uniform, high security, trustless, it's in the name, framework for developing applications. And this is really the core of our technology stack that we've been developing for 2 years now, roughly. On top of this, examples of these taps are many of our Fiat gateways or financial building blocks. So these are microservices that a startup or an application might need to interface with, in our case, our focus is on the cryptocurrency markets, and for instance, with Dash. So we've built, for instance, a really simple shared wallet or hot wallet that connects to Dash D with InstantX functionality and things like that. That's just really easy for developers to use and run on their own if they want, but also for other people to connect to as a service without any hassle of onboarding Dash. They can just try to use it as a wallet for a little bit to integrate. So we built a number of these sorts of modular tools that are pieces of our ecosystem that we use to connect various businesses.
And that's really interesting, and I think it starts to make a lot more sense. So basically, these different tools or these different tabs are building blocks that different crypto services would use in their backend to be able to provide services to users, right? So we have on our project and on our report that we're posting today, I think we list a number of these tabs that you guys have been working on. Maybe we could talk about them now. They're like the shared wallet that you mentioned, an exchange node, the broker, the trade manager, and the CoSigner, right? Those are like the building blocks that we are most interested in, or that we're following more closely. So as I understand, any of these known crypto services will be running similar tools to this in their backend to be able to provide services, right?
So must be.
Yeah, so could you give the Dash users some insight, and maybe even Bitcoin and crypto users that are not that familiar with how a typical exchange or a typical broker works in the background, as to what these tools do, like the exchange node, the broker, trade manager, CoSigner, what do they do and how do they work together with each other depending on what services are being offered?
Definitely, that's a really good question. And I think that a really great example actually is the Lamasu stack or Coinapult. And they're actually performing the same function of brokering. You've got a fixed price that you want to offer to somebody to buy or sell, right? And so let's look at what it takes to do that, to just quote a price and sell somebody some Dash, right? First of all, you need to be able to talk over the Dash network. So you either need to send a Dash transaction to the Dash protocol and all that, or receive one, right? So that means that you're running a node, you're listening to the network, you're able to communicate with it, and so on. Second component, or if you will, of this service is that you need to be integrated with an exchange, usually a bid-ask, kind of enterprise scale exchange. Examples of this would be Poloniex or Bitfinex or Kraken, right? The reason is that you need to clear your transactions. You sell somebody a Dash at $14, the current price is $13.50. You're pretty happy with that, but you need to actually buy Dash to refill your hot wallet so that if the price goes to 15, you've locked in your profits and you're ready to serve the next customer, right? Or if you're going the other direction. And another example in some components that in Lamasu, for instance, is a price feed that you might want to actually separate from this, because a price that you buy at could be very different from a price that you want to quote to a customer. For maybe you have some business reasons, maybe you prefer to buy rather than sell, or to only buy on based on a price on this exchange, right? So these are three really common components in the Lamasu infrastructure. They're broken out into plugins and mini systems. I can tell you, I don't think they'd mind that in Coinapult they're broken apart into modules that the system uses behind the scenes. And I think it's fair to say that most broker type businesses, that includes tellers and ATMs and many type things, are essentially a combination of these three components with different branding and maybe some slight difference in features and pricing.
Okay, great. So this would be like the broker, the trade manager, and the wallet working together.
Yeah, exactly. So the wallet is the way you communicate with the transaction networks, the payment networks like Dash, and the trade manager is how you manage your clearing and your trades on these third-party exchanges.
Right. Okay, great. What about the exchange node? I understand that's more like the matching engine that will match bid and ask transactions on or trades on an exchange. Could you explain a little bit, about that one, how it works?
Yeah, so that's really the engine of an exchange. You can think of it, if there's a car, you think what's the key component in this car? What's the thing that makes this car? It's the engine. The exchange engine is the matching engine is what makes an exchange, right? So our exchange node service is very fast, standalone, kind of no holds barred matching engine. It stores all of the books in Redis and memory and pre-sorted for really fast indexing and matching. And it just dumps everything, all the matches out into a queue and moves on very, very fast. So it's actually a really simple kind of service, but whole companies that are very well funded and well reputed, like Alpha Point, have whole business models based around this problem of matching orders and moving up in the queue. So okay. That's a really core piece of software.
That is great. And I have one more question. So we haven't CoSigner yet. And I understand that has to do with multi-sig and having more than one people holding keys to approve trades, transactions, operations, and different things like that. Could you explain that one a little bit?
Sure. First, I'd just like to say that we're big fans and users of the BitPay Bitcore stack, the Insight server, the Bitcore server and client. Copay is also improving a lot, but we don't like Angular, so that's a different matter. But what we're talking about is not necessarily replacing Bitcore. For normal multi-sig Dash transactions, for instance, I highly recommend using the Dash fork of Insight and their multi-sig infrastructure. What we're talking about is something that's more analogous to a service like BitGo, where they will do some specified co-signing for you. It won't be a managed service. It will be open source software like the rest of our things. So kind of run your own BitGo, set up an automated co-signing service, separate it from the rest of your infrastructure, and give it criteria by which it will co-sign 2FA keys and limits on size and timing of volume, right? But just run it yourself is kind of the idea. It's not that hard with good services like Copay available and open source to do this co-signing, and it's just kind of basic logic to say, when do I want to do it? And you need good IT to run something like that, so it's not for everybody. But that's what the CoSigner is. It's not as advanced as the rest of our projects, partially because there's a lot of potential for features within our TAP framework. The TAP framework itself allows for multi-sig requests, so you could use that for administering a server, for instance, to control spending limits, to reconfigure a trade manager or a shared wallet, to admins would both co-sign to make the change, and the server would only accept it if both signatures were present. And they could do this, from any side of the world safely due to this multi-signature configuration.
Okay, I think that makes it a lot more clear in terms of how all the different components work together, what they are. So I think one thing the community would be interested in knowing is, in general terms, where are we? When could we expect to have like all these different components with Dash support including? You feel comfortable? Are these going to be completed but before the end of this year, for example, over the next couple months? How are things looking from a development standpoint?
A lot of the projects are nearing. Well, three of the projects are in a public beta, where we've brought some of our partners in. It's all public on GitHub, so very in the strictest sense, it's public. But we're really working closely with our other engineering partners who are contributing time towards testing and really working at deploying our trade manager, deploying our shared wallet in their systems. We're kind of at the stage. I'm going tomorrow to do last minute troubleshooting on any differences between our data schemas, for instance, and just are there any last minute requests before we approve these schemas, and this is the official release that we're going to do. As far as recommending other Dash services, I know we've talked to you've introduced me to a number of wonderful Dash services. For instance, the Note 40 guys are waiting to use some of these tools. We've really prioritized our closer engineering partners during this earlier beta, just because they're actually contributing to components of our framework and things like that. And they have a lot of good feedback at this stage. I think that once they've signed off on this upcoming release of the shared wallet and the trade manager in particular, then we can open it up for broader use and testing. Okay,
Great. That's really good to hear. So I always think, or I explain to people that this project, from my perspective, is really a business development project that includes some software components. um, just because it really is a stepping stone into integrating Dash into more Fiat gateways and more user-facing services, right? So I think it was very important for us to go over what happens in the back end of some of these services so people can understand that having Dash tools that can be used in these same ways really facilitates the process of integrating new partners and new services that will then ultimately benefit end users, right? So I want to talk about that next, about the business side of the project and the business development work and outreach that happens surrounding this project and how we have been over time onboarding new and more partners that as we publish their integrations or partnerships with Dash, they will all be known to the community, right? I think right now there's a number of partners that have come from our relationship with you and the work that we're doing that are already known, but there are others that are on the pipeline that I think will be releasing really soon. So, can you talk to us a little bit about the business side of things and the work that we're doing in terms of business development and outreach as part of this project?
That's a great question. Yeah, I I'm an engineer, but I absolutely love business, and I think that they have a lot in common about building processes, implementing them, input and output. And I think I've had a lot of experience doing startups, trying to bootstrap a system of wallets and exchange and things like that. And I've watched dozens of other startups do the same thing, try the same thing, use some of the components and services that I've built to make this product or that products that, you know, in the end user experience. And it seems to me at the end of the day that a lot of the resistance and a lot of the questioning that you had in this sector in fintech was really about onboarding costs, and usually that comes down to software. Of, well, yeah, we'd love to introduce you. You know, we had drinks at the conference, and you seemed like really nice guys, and it's sounded exciting. Talk to our engineers, and it's going to take them, you know, months, and we're going to have to charge you 30 grand to do it, you know. And that's just a very common way for these conversations to go. Or they say yes, then they don't give you a price, but it's just, you know, we'll put it in our priority list, and it's a year down the road, and they're not necessarily going to tell you that, but that's the reality. You know, a lot of these companies or startups, they only have a limited engineering team, and frankly, you can really mess up doing some of this stuff if you do it quickly, as all of the hacks have shown. So our goal with GitGuild is to synthesize these two to build quality open source kind of infrastructure components, and then to go out and get businesses using them, and specifically because they're all interoperable, to create kind of a business ecosystem of, you know, high quality standardized API services and things like that, and to get new services that come on. And you know, like for instance, if you're developing a game and you just need a hot wallet to go, at least like you can use you know, a good standard with perhaps your own co-signing and things like that, rather than trusting a service. So that's really our goal, is to give business partners kind of package that a solution that we can offer as we go to them and propose this or that. As we meet at a bar or a conference, you know, and we say, oh, this is, you know, Daniel and Evan from Dash, and, you know, they're doing really exciting stuff. I think you should look at it. And the conversation goes well. You know, when you get the follow-up call a week later, and there's all the, oh, my engineer said this and that, you just say, well, okay, we've got a package to hand you, and, you know, it's no problem. It's all open source and ready for you to run.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it, and that's how I see it. And actually, we have had some success in that sense already. Even as we've been developing, these tools, I think we've probably either secured or already agreed with a number of partners that will be using these same tools. So as an example for the community, I think it's important for them to know that IRA has been really instrumental in introducing us to some of the partnerships we have acquired over the last few months, right? For example, IRA introduced us to the mycelium team. We really hit it off. It's been a great collaboration ever since. But that came from these efforts, right? And they're probably going to also be connecting to the framework for some of the tools that IRA is building. Um, can you share a little bit with us, Ira, about those partnerships that are already known or on the works, like, for example, Coinapool, Mycelium, and some of the other partnerships that will be releasing actually press release pretty soon next week. Tigo CTM is another one. And are all of these partners that we've recently acquired going to benefit from the set of tools that you've been creating for Dash as part of this project?
Yeah, basically you can think of us kind of like a development cooperative. I say development, not specifically software development or business development, because we do a synthesis, right? But we have a number of partners already who have committed to help us build or contribute funding to build these components. And then usually they're doing this because they want to use one or more of them for themselves. So our first partners were Coinapool and Crypto Capital. Crypto Capital's current, their latest API is built as a tap. It's built using our framework. Coinapool uses this to communicate with them and has been doing some stuff with it internally. And they're looking at a full replacement sometime, or parallel services. So that is kind of the general nature of our relationships with these partners. We have a number of newer ones since Coinapool and Crypto Capital from our very early days. And in particular, lately, we've had a lot of interest and success with CTMs, cryptocurrency teller machines. And this was something that we'd been experimenting with before Coinapool. We wrote plugins that integrated Coinapool into the Llamasu stack years ago. And we operate one Llamasu machine here in Panama. And we've been already experimenting with the software on it some more and thinking about other things that we could do, thinking about other partners, how we could integrate people, through our framework kind of abstractly to buy this or that or use this service, maybe link wallets and things. We really want to make it just a whole portal into the cryptocurrency ecosystem, And when Dash came along and needed help with integration, it seemed like a really great opportunity for us. We were really excited by some of the things that you guys have been doing with your governance and the master network. Those were relatively new at the time, and they're still quite impressive. So we were really, we thought it was a great kind of business partnership to help you guys to develop your stack. It could become part of the selling point for our plans for reselling machines and building our own network of them to do sell here in the region. And we've had a long journey with that piece of software, but it's also had a lot of really great business. A lot of people have already bought Dash CTMs from us that are shipping out, and we've had new partners that have come along, express an interest in building integrations into our CTM network and to do remittances, to do bill pay services and things like that. So we're just really excited about these physical machines as a cash interface into our network and into the Dash network.
Right, and that's really cool. So I think that that really covers what's happening, what we're working on under the Fiat Gateways project. Other than the already known partners, I must say that we have already secured two new partnerships. One will be announced next week, and I'm very excited about it because I think it's going to really make a difference for real people that need it. And then there's a second one that will probably be announced a few weeks later as we finish coordination and defining some things with the new partner. But I'm really pleased with all of the things we have achieved so far. I think there's been a lot of work that goes into the B2B part of the system. How these businesses are going to use tools that support Dash to be able to integrate services. So that's not like very sexy, very attractive to end users, but now we're moving beyond that into the actual integrations and partners that are providing services to people. And I think that was always the ultimate goal of the project, and it's something we're going to continue to do. It doesn't stop. It's an ongoing iterative process, right? We just want to keep looking for more partnerships and more integrations and ways to expand the Dash ecosystem, and we're going to do that. So before we close, Ira, I thought maybe we could talk about the other work that you've been doing, and I've been helping you a little bit with it here in Panama, and startup work, promotion, and activism on cryptocurrencies and so on and so forth. Could you talk to us a little bit about your work with the Founder Institute and things that are happening here?
Yeah, I'd really love to. I talk about Panama everywhere I go. I think that it's a kind of well-kept secret in the cryptocurrency community. There are many businesses here, many not just cryptocurrency business people, but all sorts of really high-quality people coming here to Panama to for meetings or just to learn to set things up. It's one of the most popular jurisdictions for corporation for a number of advantageous tax and regulatory reasons. And generally, it's one of the best places in the world for business. I think it's the Hong Kong of the Americas. As for the things that we're doing here, I think that Panama has one of the most amazing active markets that I've seen in the world. And thankfully, I've had opportunity to see quite a few, including Dubai and Hong Kong. But it's much earlier. It's much less developed here, the startup scene in particular. And so I wanted to engage people here more to try to find the technical people. There's 100 banks in this country. There's a lot of fintech going on, but we're not connecting. So even though I'm a very introverted person, I decided to help bring a chapter of Founder Institute here to Panama. Founder Institute is a program out of Silicon Valley that's like an entrepreneurship accelerator. So we just completed our first semester and had our graduation last night, which was a wonderful event with local TV reporters and investors and many things. We had 13 graduates. 2 of them are doing fintech-related projects. More than half of them are at least exploring using blockchain technology in one way or another. At least one of them is definitely going that route. And through this process, we've really gotten a great opportunity to do business networking with some of the existing fintech businesses here in Panama. And I wanted to just say, so I'm one of the co-directors of our chapter here in Panama, and Daniel was kind enough to be one of our mentors. So he came and told all our founders about Dash and the innovative governance and management models that Dash is implementing. I think it really opened some of their eyes. And at graduation the other night, we had some real excitement about these topics. We had to sell some people Dash in the middle of the day today because they were so excited about the conversations that we'd had at the graduation. So it's very local in a sense. This is a small country, but even though I'm a transplant here, I feel very passionately that this is one of the best world-class places to start a business, to build a business, particularly in fintech and the cryptocurrency fields. And I want to just engage the active business community here and the next generation. And I really want to thank you, Daniel, for helping me with that.
Thank you. It's been really exciting and a great opportunity to expand Dash and to talk to people about it. And we've gotten a lot of visitors from the industry come down here for one reason or the other. So very exciting experience to promote Dash and at the same time do some positive work. To me, the best part was seeing all the graduates and all the people that are trying to start businesses in technology, and specifically some of them with blockchain, be so happy and the good work that the Founder Institute is doing, I think should be shared. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit today. Okay, so I think that's it. And thank you very much for joining and for watching this video. Any final comments, Ira?
I just want to say thank you to the Dash community for supporting our projects. And we're here developing for you and scrambling, thinking dynamically about how we can improve Dash as well. And you may not see it right away, but over the long haul, I think that you'll really appreciate some of the things we're doing.
Thank you. I think I agree. That's really great. I'm really looking forward to doing a lot more things and expanding the Dash ecosystem. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you.